You might have heard of an obscure little event called Christmas. It's a sacred celebration in the mysterious system of mysticism known as Christianity. Plentiful are the customs associated with this holiday. The exchange of gifts, which, depending on your perspective, can be a symbol of goodwill or a market stimulus. The frost wizard, who symbolizes the virtues and values of the holiday at the expense of all the actual religious connotations. The most grating of music and advertising. The lowest common denominator of film. Truly the happiest season of all. I think that the Christmas tree is a uniquely potent signifier though, and I doubt it's hard to see why. It is the green of Christmas. The conifer doesn't waver through the colder months like those impotent balding angiosperms, the Walter White of the botanical world. And that shape, the tapering cone, guides the eye to the top, to the star or the angel, the most, if not only, explicit religious element in most trees. The act of bringing a tree inside your house and making it glow subverts our typical understanding of nature. And decorating a tree can be deeply personal. It can be a bonding activity, a tradition. It can sit in a storefront or a shopping mall or the city square. You can decorate it according to an aesthetic, or you can populate it with personal icons, or you can buy a pre-decorated tree, or something vaguely shaped like a tree. Isn't it so weird that you can just make a cone-shaped decoration and call it a Christmas tree? A vague cone of wireframe orbs is a tree? And weirdly enough, the Christmas tree itself has transcended its own sphere and become a generic Christmas symbol. Christmas tree-shaped gingerbread I can accept. On a card, sure. But what's the point of having a small tree-shaped decoration when I already have a tree? Why would I put a tree-shaped ornament on my tree? Why is a triangle now enough to signify Christmas? I do not like these products. That looks like the skeleton of a Christmas tree. That looks like the Christmas tree equivalent of a dead rat. That is just a hat rack. Do you like seashells? How about a cone made of seashells? You know, for Christmas? Please don't make me talk about this one. How do these sell? How do these end up on display in public? What aspect of the psyche does this play into? Illusion? Pattern recognition? Nostalgia? Instant gratification? Toy blocks? Let's be honest, Christmas merch in general has gotten weird. Plaid reindeer? What's going on? What is that? But man, something about two cardboard triangles stuck together just feels off. But how did we get here? Christmas trees date back a few centuries, popping up in Germany sometime after the Middle Ages and possibly spinning out of any number of pagan traditions. The classic Christmas tree decorations were relatively simple, candles and fruits and things. The trees got so popular that they've been retroactively inserted into Christian history. Yeah, Martin Luther definitely had a Christmas tree, right. Some clergymen originally decried trees as being a distraction from the actual religious elements of Christmas, but they were going too strong to stop at that point. As they spread to England, they became a way to show off, a sort of competition, arguably even a status symbol. Apparently for a while, it was common in smaller homes to just hang trees from the ceiling. That's avant-garde. How did something once regarded as a toy and a novelty end up where it is now in the cultural consciousness? And how did that lead us to these abstractions? There's a couple of interesting developments I'd like to consider. The year's 1849. Illustrated London News publishes a special Christmas issue in December with an illustration and in-depth description of Queen Victoria's Christmas tree. Christmas trees had been a royal family tradition for decades at this point, but only now was it made visible to the public. ILN was the precursor to the whole modern royal celebrity culture thing. Really, it's ILN's fault that the prince happened, but that arboreal expose brought the Christmas tree to the world stage. This magazine made the royal family fashionable, it made them relatable, it presented them as people worth caring about across the globe, and then it showed that they have a Christmas tree. And then the Christmas tree became fashionable beyond the aristocracy, beyond England and Germany. Within years, it was a staple in the United States. Now, not gonna lie, I personally could not give less of a shit about the royal family, but I have to admit I was not expecting them to be so relevant to the cultural boom of Christmas trees. I would like to further posit that the ILN piece is also the root of the idea that other people's Christmas trees are worth caring about. The royal family's tree is characterized as universal, relatable, fashionable, something to emulate, something to take interest in, something to compare yourself to. The publicly demonstrated Christmas tree then became a whole phenomenon. The White House, Macy's, and so on. The next development was the advent of aluminum and plastic trees in the mid-20th century. And it's an understandable development. Plastic was becoming huge in every sphere of industry. It's a hell of a lot easier and cheaper to buy one tree and keep it in the garage 11 months of the year than it is to go out and buy a real tree annually. And the artificial trees will not shed pine needles all over your living room, and they won't start decomposing on you, and they're probably less likely to catch fire. On basically every front, plastic trees have the advantage, but now the idea of what a Christmas tree is has been challenged. A tree can be a plastic facsimile of a tree. A string of lights can be candles. And then we have contention over the meaning and use of the tree. On one side, there is the so-called Chrismon tree. Chrismon, what is that, a Digimon? It's a type of tree that is only decorated with actual Christian imagery. It seems like a sort of pushback against perceived secularity. On the other side, you have secularity. And see, that's sort of the elephant in the room when it comes to Christmas. Our modern conception of Christmas has very little to do with Christianity. Like, yes, it is a Christian holiday, and individual Christians will surely observe the holiday in a religious capacity, and so will churches and other Christian organizations, but in popular culture, the Christmas story is the story of Santa Claus. A Christmas tree has little to do with Christianity beyond the star on top. But what if you go a bit farther than that? One of the first big pushes of a non-Christian Christmas tree happened apparently as early as the late 1800s, the Hanukkah bush. Now, is it me, or does that name sound like a dry joke to begin with? There's a lot of factors surrounding the bush, not the least of which surely being that retailers wanted to sell more Christmas things, so they thought, why don't we just call them Jewish things too? The more time goes by, the more it seems corporations try to repackage Christmas iconography and sell it to the Jewish market. I don't think it would be fair to blame any individual Jewish person for choosing to decorate a Christmas tree or a Hanukkah bush or whatever they want to call it, but I will blame any corporation that actively tries to present a Christian tradition, even a secularized one, as something detached from Christianity. And that brings us to the holiday tree. There is no meaningful distinction from the Christmas tree. It's just a phrase that popped up in the 2000s as an alternative to saying Christmas tree and a sort of pair to happy holidays. My stance on this is a layered one. On one hand, I respect the idea of acknowledging that there's a variety of cultural practices that different people may observe, and that you shouldn't assume that every person you meet wants to celebrate Christmas, especially if you live somewhere with a lot of people from a diverse range of backgrounds. That said, a lot of the happy holidays attitude seems to be about a largely meaningless semantic gesture rather than actually knowing anything about different cultural practices. It is a very common sight in modern politics to see more emphasis on say the good word and not the bad word than doing anything to broaden your perspective, change your way of thinking, challenge your biases. I think it's a pretty hollow gesture to take everything that's Christmas and make it holiday. What does that actually do for people that don't celebrate Christmas? Is saying happy holidays meaningful if you're only saying it from December 21st through 26th? Is it meaningful to say happy holidays if you don't even know when Hanukkah is? At its worst, happy holidays frames culturally Christian traditions as something neutral, something that's for everyone, while not acknowledging any non-Christian traditions. On the other hand, though, the conservative pushback against happy holidays and holiday tree is frankly embarrassing. The whole notion of a war on Christmas is just a self-righteous victim complex. You see a societal shift in favor of acknowledging other people and other cultures, and it's not even a good acknowledgement, it's a vapid and shallow acknowledgement, and it's enough to make you throw a little baby tantrum? Oh no, the coffee cup is secular now. It's not like it had a crucifix on it before. But reactionaries gotta react, right? They have perfected the art of inventing things to get mad at. So in short, I don't think saying holiday tree is doing any favors to non-Christians, and it obviously doesn't please Christians either, so who is it for? Well, probably the kind of person that feels really good about themselves when they say the good thing and not the bad thing. So we have all of the setup. Christmas trees are fashionable. Christmas trees don't need to be trees. Christmas trees don't need to be Christmas. So of course we end up here. The wireframe orbs and the glittery cones. It's not difficult to draw a comparison between the simplification of trees and the creeping minimalism of corporate logos. Is that it then? Is it capitalism grabbing the idea of the tree and mangling it, making it consumable and stripping it of context? Was the tree destined to become this as soon as Christmas became an industry? As soon as the tree became a fashion statement? Well, here's the thing. The abstract Christmas tree actually dates back centuries. It was in the 1700s that wood pyramids started to be used as a substitute for trees. The fact is, the triangle is still recognizable as a Christmas tree. If I see the vague cone among the Christmas decorations, I know what it's meant to be, whether I like it or not. Perhaps we now have a divide between Christmas tree as personal tradition and Christmas tree as easily digestible symbol. Is it about the symbol? Are symbols not the conduit to the idea? You see the cone for the tree and two spheres for a snowman and a star and a cross, and you think about winter and Christmas and whatever personal associations you have with those things. Take a look at this. Just look at this. Look at it. What is it? Would you say it's a tree? It is, but no, it's not. You are not looking at a tree right now. You're looking at a digital picture of a tree. But you know how to fill in the blank. A snowman isn't a person. A gingerbread house is not a house. Is the fact that such a simple grapheme can convey something so specific not at least a little bit profound? Why am I still so frustrated then? Why do I feel bothered by the simplified tree designs? Maybe it's as simple as them just not looking very nice? Maybe it's because I've always regarded a tree as something personal and I don't like how impersonal this feels. Maybe what really gets me is that so many corporate trees are just lifeless. Toronto's Eaton Centre has a tree over 100 feet tall, the tallest tree in the city. It spans 3 floors of the shopping mall and it's virtually impossible to even look at the whole thing all at once. And it's just red and white lights top to bottom. No details, no personality. Every square inch of that surface might as well be the same. You don't even have to look closely to see that it doesn't even really have branches. It's just a sort of Christmas tree texture on a big cone, and that feels like salt in the wound. The United States National Christmas Tree, I'm sorry, but that's an eyesore. I can appreciate the idea that a symbol can become so potent that it's recognizable even in a reduced form, but I hate the way that correlates with the corporate world. I hate the interconnection of recognizability and advertising and profit. I hate the way marketability always drains the life out of things. And yeah, I'm not gonna deny, I just hate having to see this. Hey, thank you for watching. I thought it would be a fun outro to show off my own Christmas tree a little bit. It's a plastic tree about 3 feet tall that lights up. It does have an ornament vaguely shaped like a Christmas tree. The irony is not lost on me. Check out this one. You think this one's a Chrismon? If you think this ornament is a Chrismon, make sure to smash that block button and forward this video to the most Lutheran person you know, or else Santa Claus will show up in your house at midnight and drink all your milk.